everything.
Yeah, it's unfortunately you're not inundated with the French language,
Yeah.
like people who are learning English are with English language stuff.
But do you have other options than French when you pick a second language in school?
We had Spanish or French, and I chose French.
Why?
Yeah, good question. Why?
You know what? I thought Spanish was boring and mainstream. Like,
Okay.
everyone is taking Spanish, so I'm like, I want to be different.
That's kind of the same in France with German. Everyone is speaking Spanish, and some people are like, you know what? I'm like the elite. I will pick German, and then they regret because German is an awful language.
Yeah, something like that.
Shots fired.
Ripperino.
It's still better than Romanian. It's fine.
It is.
Oh, we know Romanian is awful, so no.
Hey, it's technically
No
a
banter
Romance
material.
language.
Yeah.
All right then. So I think we're going to be getting dark in like 10 minutes or so. I am live on stream, so we can get some questions from chat later on. But today I think we're just going to be talking about the RedBull qualifier and then some WDC2 stuff. So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's go.
All right. So we can start with RedBull. So obviously, Sebastian, you made it through the ladder. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I guess the first thing I want to ask is, what did you think of the ladder qualifier? Because it's the first time we've done something like this in quite a while. And it was, I'm sure, a very different experience for you guys playing it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the idea is good. The idea was good. Let's put it in the past. It was good. But obviously, on practice, on paper, it didn't end up to be as good. It had a lot of flaws. Like, still, the format can be maybe done again in the future, but to do it, you need to correct a lot of things, fix a lot of things. Like, I think the main problem was the reward. Like, the top 4 had the reward. They were like, okay, you qualified minimum 9K, and the other ones didn't get nothing. And that was like heartbreaking. That's a lot. And basically what that translates to is on the final day having like 2 players playing. So yeah. So maybe putting more rewards in the middle, like top 5 to top 10, like X amount of money, something to be like, okay, I will keep playing because there is still something to play. So I still think the idea is good. It gives the ladder activity a lot of, I think casters liked it. It's a lot of content, a lot of hours watched. But overall, it was super, super stressful for everyone. I don't think any player enjoyed the qualifier. I'm pretty sure like no player enjoyed it.
I certainly have not heard anything positive from the players who went through the grind.
Yeah, it was more of a battle into like managing stress than anything else. And I think that's what I did better maybe than other players. So yeah, basically it was that. So and there are more things you need to fix to make it like more playable. But that's the most important that comes to mind. Then you have the mirror aspect as well, and there are other aspects as well. So yeah, overall, a lot of things to change. To say I like it.
The concept is interesting.
Yeah.
And it can be iterated on, at least. It's not like a lot of the issues can, I think, be altered with different rule sets. But Mihai, you were at least relatively close for a while. And then you dropped out, I think, in the last day or so.
Then I went to vacation, and I'm happy that I did it. And I didn't have to go through Saracen's mirrors and Byzantine's mirrors. So
Yeah.
thanks God.
Yeah, same for me. I didn't partake too much into the ladder. Like, since they announced it, I was like, I understand the idea, so you have more ladder activity and such. But in fact, like, we could anticipate right away that it would be a nightmare for many players, for all the players actually. And yeah, that's why I decided to play a bit to get like, let's say a seed 30 at least for the last chance, something like this, even if I could have way better. But it was just so horrible to play in the thing. Like, you just queue up, you want to play a game, and then the guy speaking Saracen, so you're like, well, I will pick Saracen as well next one, and at the end everyone is speaking Saracen, Byzantine, or Incas, I don't know, and it's just not interesting at all. You're just losing your time, and as there is no reward for almost anybody except the top 4, well, then if your chance of qualifying are pretty low at the beginning, what's the point of investing time in the ladder? So I think the idea was not bad, but the way it turned out makes it very uninteresting for anyone. And yeah, I don't know. I think if you just use the ladder for seeding purposes, it's way better. Or you can have a mix, like let's say top 2 qualifies, and then it's a seeding ladder. Then everyone wanna partake. But I think if it's only a seeding ladder, then you won't have this behavior of picking sieves only. You will have a bit of this behavior, but not as much as we had.
Yeah.
Isn't top 2 qualifying too little?
I mean, especially because you
Yeah.
have Hera and Leary, and I don't know if you guys
I
had
think-
a different opinion, but I mean, it felt very, very likely that Hera and Leary would qualify very quickly.
I think having any spot granted thanks to the ladder is too much. Like, that's it. I think that's a bad idea.
Well, you also have, and I'm curious what you think about this. I felt like, yes, it was exciting to cast, and it was a lot of content, and you know, there was that aspect to it. But how you guys were tested as players didn't really necessarily reflect how you would be tested in the actual tournament, because not only is it all mirrors when the tournament itself is not going to be mirrors, but you're also playing a very specific style. You're playing Hollowed Woodlands, I think is the name of the map, the super aggressive one, and you're sort of grinding that over and over and over again, and you're not really being measured on like your strategic depth as a player, especially on a lot of the maps that are a bit more different. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Like,
Yeah,
it was not the
100%.
same settings at all.
There are a couple of options to fix that, like maybe add some sieve bans as well.
Yeah,
Like
but let's
just
be
ban
honest.
Byzantine Saracens.
The ideas to make the player experience better in this qualifier would require a lot of works from the dev team. And as much as I love them, they need a lot of time to fix things. So just imagine having to wait them for implement like 3 or 4 special things just for one ladder for 3 months. Then like they do it, it's bugged. 1 month later they fix it. And another thing is bugged, and I don't know. I just think it's too much for not that cool of a tournament, at least for players, not cool of a qualifier.
Mm-hmm. Especially with only 8 people able to participate in the event.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah.
So we had our 4 qualifiers from the ladder. We had, I think it was Leary, then Hera, and then I forget who had to hire between Sebastian and MBL, but we had those 4 all qualifying. At the very end, it was really unfortunate because you could have sort of had Yo and Vinchester who had to keep playing each other, and unless one of them went on a huge win streak, there was no way either of them could take enough points from the other, as obviously everyone in the top 4 had no incentive to play, because why would you give points to people who will potentially supplant you? So that was a whole issue there as well. But regardless, that's how it panned out. Yo and Vinchester barely missed out on the cut. And then that just sort of leads us into the last chance qualifier, which is going to be your much more traditional, bracket tournament. So after the craziness of the ladder, how different did it feel for those of you that had to compete in it to play in the last chance qualifier?
I even had to recheck Wikipedia to remind myself whatever happened in the qualifier. I have no memory.
Well,
it was
that's
just
why
2 weeks
I was
before.
prepared. I pulled up Wikipedia. So
Nice. So we can look together.
You had a bye, then you went through some guy named Sabolero, then you went 3-0 over Uzi, 3-1 over Kapach, and then lost 0-3 to Yo.
Well, I can't say that I'm sad how I played against Mr. Yo. It was a little bit different from my style, like more
passive,
controlled one.
Yeah.
I didn't go as wild with aggression and such.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see how it will go. And I would say I had some unfortunate Civ matchups as well. Plus some hole in the second games, which made it look really embarrassing. Even though I had the Civ advantage there. But I guess it happens.
Yep.
But overall, I'm happy. Like it's top 14 performance is a decent one at the end of the day.
especially with only 8 people qualifying, making it to that stage is definitely something that was.
Yeah. And it's Mr. Yo.
Yep, and it's Mr. Yeah, I can't feel too bad about that. Also, hello, Dark.
Hello, Dark.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Vamos.
So much light in that room for
Yeah.
somebody called Dark.
The irony. All right, so Dark, we were talking about the last chance qualifier for Red Bull, the ladder experience. If you have anything you wanted to add about what it was like playing through the Red Bull qualifier.
You're allowed to check Wikipedia as we
Yes,
did.
exactly.
So you're talking about my game specifically, or in general?
I'm just going through everyone's experience with
Yeah.
the sort of twofold qualifier with the ladder and then the last chance qualifier.
We finished with
Well-
me, you're next.
Okay. So qualifying through the rating, I think, is a bad idea. I don't know what you're guys talking about. It's a really bad idea. And as soon as I realized that it's impossible for me, I just stopped.
Mhm.
And also, I didn't have too much time to play there because I was also practicing a lot for the dancing tournament in China. And that's why also in the qualifier when I played, I did like a lot of mistakes here and there that I could have maybe avoided if I practiced better, but I don't blame myself. I just choose the other priority, and I think it was good. Still good experience.
Yeah.
Chat is covering your face, Ornlu. Just saying.
Yeah, I know, but let's be honest, who wants to see my face anyway? You can shrink it a little bit. There we go.
You can put it on me, actually. It's fine.
Just
As I don't have a cam.
Yeah.
right over Margougou.
On the left.
No, the white on black does a little bit better anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that there is good. There is fine.
There we go. Perfect. All right, so with
I won't. Oh, sorry.
What? Go.
I was saying I wonder who got the idea of the ladder. Like, was it a requirement from Microsoft? Like, we want an active ladder before the tournament. I wonder who had this idea. And I think that the idea is not bad, but just make it a seeding qualifier by the ladder, and it's way better. And you have your activity anyway. That's the best in between, in my opinion.
Hopefully we learned from it. But I'm not sure if it matters so much who came up with the idea. It's
Yeah.
just,
And honestly,
it is what it is.
It was really painful anyway, as Yo and Vinchester, then who were 5 and 6 on the ladder at the end, so they just missed the cutoff, then make it to the last round of the last chance qualifier, and then they both lose to ACCM and to Heart. So that's like, oh man, that just having the single elimination bracket there at the end, and it's like you spend all that time working to try.
Well,
to
at the
qualify
end of the
event.
day, they got decent money, like 3,000 each.
Yeah.
But it might not be what they expected. That's for sure.
Yeah, they are disappointed, but that's not the worst spot. The worst spot is for player like Nikov,
Watch.
Capoch, who threw like hundreds of hours playing the ladder, then put a ton of time training and got 0. Just because, for some reason, AoE2 cash prize split is one head.
Yeah, and I guess that is another interesting question, right? Because AoE is probably still a bit more balanced in its prize pool than other esports, but at the same time, it's still very, very top heavy, and I'm sure that makes it difficult for you guys who are sort of like almost there. I mean, Sebastian's kind of getting there right now, but you know, it's like just below that sort of top level to really invest the time you need to compete at that the very top.
I mean, if you compare to other RTS game, AoE, Age of Empire is one of the worst. AoE 2, especially. I mean, if you compare to another big one like StarCraft, like last years, most of the tournaments, those have a really nice cash prize split. And I think AoE 2 made a huge progress the past month on it. It's just when you have that big of a prize pool, like in the Red Bull one, Having only 14 players paired is not good. Even more recently, when we learned that Mythology would have 32 players paired. Like I heard so many times, paying so much players, like it's annoying, it's hard to handle, blah blah blah. And then you have Mythology paying like 32 people with 20k. We have 150k, and we are paying 14 people in a much more developed scene. So yeah, I just wonder why we are not just doing it better.
I am in charge of paying out people for a 3v3 tournament where you can have up to 6 players per team. Like, if I can figure out by my lonesome how to pay out that many different people, then I think actual people who are used to doing these sorts of financial transactions can probably manage it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, that's a whole debate. That's not easy, but in my opinion, for the sake of the scene, just giving more money to everyone, especially when you have that big of prize, is a must.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree that the AOE was doing some kind of progress there. There was more money being split. But this one, where you had a lot of money, it kind of remind me of the Grand Melee, the Melee, or how, I don't know how you call it, the offline event they did on, I don't know, was it Germany? It did
Yeah.
Yeah,
remind
it
me
was
of
in
that, where
DreamHack Hanover. I was there.
exactly, yeah.
I'd say most of the time offline
Yeah.
events payment are disastrous. Like even NAC was decent at the end because you had this whole participating prize for the qualifiers and to make it bigger. But initially the tournament had 45k for 8 players only, or 10, I don't remember, and 0 for the qualifier, for example, initially, right? Grand Melee
Didn't
the
T90
same,
sponsor
Red Bull.
that, if I recall correctly?
Yeah. T90 was like shocked that the qualifier had 0, so he said, I'm putting from my pocket 5k, and if Neely doesn't cover this 5k, I'll put it from my pocket, I think. But at the end, Neely managed to cover it somehow. But like, my idea is not that I knew it was an expensive project, event, etc. But where I think there is a problem, it's like you have 45k for 10 people, and at any moment you're thinking like, I could take 5k from this 45k for the qualifiers, right? No, we are not doing that. We are saying we have 45k, we need 5k more from the outside for the qualifiers, while you should take something from the main cash prize.
We've had that before. Like, for example, if you remember the last edition of Red Bull Legacy, Age of Empires 4 had 300,000 cash prize. And it was mainly just for the main event. It was 16 players, true. But it's like, yeah, you have to put a lot of effort, even reaching like top 20, almost qualifying for it. And it's just insane for the first place, 100,000 prize pool. It feels a little bit too much, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, especially because I guess the idea is that lands are extremely large and expensive and grandiose events, so they should have correspondingly large prize pools. But on the other hand, the expense is mostly on the organizers, right? It's not like you have to train super extra hard to play at a LAN event. I mean, it's still going to be the biggest event, even if it's, say $150,000 prize pool versus $100,000 prize pool, and how that's distributed. Oh, it's like it's only $15,000 for first place, not $25,000 for first place. I'm just not going to bother training. Like, that doesn't make any sense, especially as we are limited in the amount of events we can even have as an esport.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's not like, I think if the first place gets, I don't know, I think in this Red Bull, it's going to be like 45k for the first place. Let's say he gets 30k. Like, can you call that like a shame? Like, oh my god, it's so low, I won't even partake, or I won't even try for it? No, I think it won't change anything to the motivation of the first guy. And it will motivate so much everyone, like from top 4 to top 32, that it might offer an insane show for everyone since the qualifier. And with really good show, you will maybe, like, new viewers will come, will be like, wow, this scene is incredibly alive, let's go, that's so interesting to watch. Well, at the end of the day, if you, let's say you give like 100k to the first place, I don't know many viewers who's like, they're asking like how much overall for the tournament, how good was the tournament? They are not like how much for the first, and oh, if it's too low, I won't watch. I think it's just, it doesn't have a big impact.
Especially with lands, it's about the experience, right? It's about the production quality
exactly.
that Red Bull, of course, always does a great job with. And I mean,
Yeah.
especially like you're in a freaking castle, like that in itself is attractive to players. It's like, oh, where it's like a medieval
Exactly.
game in a castle, cool. And it feels like the prize pool, although important, is not like, it's not the defining aspect of the tournament.
Yeah. You won't rate the tournament on the cash prize. You won't rate the success of it on the cash prize or the cash prize split, for example.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's good we can agree on this aspect of prize pool distribution.
I'd
But
say 99%
I believe
of
we
the
are on the
players
good way.
agrees.
Like there are
Yeah,
there
this
are
was
things
more
done
like
in that direction.
this was an exception, let's say.
Yeah.
There was still money, but it was for what? 4 players
Yeah.
or 8? I don't know. Yeah, it was too little.
Well, obviously, only having 8 people at the event is a little sad, but these things are extremely expensive, and more players is more time they need to actually compete in the tournament, and way more people need to fly out and all that stuff. So, I mean, that's not something I think any of us can really speak to. But the 8 people who are going to be at the event, Tato and Viper invited. From the ladder, we have Hera, Leary, MBL, and Sebastian. And then the last chance qualifier has ACCM and Hart. For the main event, do you think that these are, at the end of the day, the 8 best Empire Wars players on these settings?
No. That's, yeah. I mean,
close enough. Maybe top 10, including
Yeah.
Vinci and Mysterio.
Yeah.
But it's around those numbers. So it's not that far from.
Yeah,
That's
it's not that far, but I think some names could have been replaced. Like, for example, MBL. I think he's a really good ladder player, but I think that's only my opinion, right? And that's if he wasn't qualifying in the ladder thing. But I think if he was in the last chance qualifier, he wouldn't have qualified. That's my opinion, because I think he's a really good player at spamming game in the ladder. He's really good, but when it comes to deep strategy, preparation on the strategies as well, then I don't think he's the best. So I think it was a huge opportunity for him to have this ladder qualification.
Yeah, especially if you're having to play a larger variety of maps. You know, you guys didn't really have to play, what was it, the Passage? That was the map with the huge river in the middle. Like, if MBL
The
had to play
Autobahn,
that in like a set, he probably wouldn't be very happy about that. It was mostly Hollowed Woodlands, Karsts, Isthmus, the much more Arabia-ish maps.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like
he's
execution
really
based,
good
you
on.
could say.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He's really good on ladder, and I think he
Mhm.
took the opportunity really well.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
so
You
yeah.
can't blame him for it,
It's-
right? It's huge opportunity
No,
for him.
you
yeah,
can't.
it's a beast for sure.
Yeah.
It's
I
huge
was
for
going
him.
to say, like, I would put Mysterio for sure on the to answer your question, Ornlu.
Mhm.
I would put Mysterio, and then maybe there is potentially the best. I don't consider myself the best because I haven't been on a Red Bull, so I'm more of on the rookie side. So, but yeah, but missing Mysterio, it's big, I think, and Doubt as well. So
Yep.
yeah,
No doubt.
Yeah.
I think Doubt in Empire Wars is not top 8.
Are we talking about the Red Bull Wololo 3 champion?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Back then, yes, but now I think he's not. Like,
Yeah, I think they
Empire
are
Wars
too
is too much about
fast-paced.
execution, and I think there's just better players than Doubt right now. I was surprised ACCM qualified, actually. I didn't expect him to be top 8. I expect him to lose in the final, actually. And when he qualified, I was super happy for ACC man. But yeah, I didn't expect him. I know he's really good, but I don't know, for some reason, I didn't see ACM being that good execution-wise in Empire Wars, and I was really surprised, and yeah, he's a beast.
He broke the curse against Mysterio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
had like a 15% win rate versus him recently in like
Yeah.
the last couple of years. So I mean it's huge for him. And just looking at those individual games, it was like ACCM had the better execution that day. So if he could kill Yo in early game and just enough of those maps he could kill Yo in early game, then he didn't have to deal with Yo's late game. And like, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
that razor thin margin between making it to the event and not making it to the event. Also, Yo deleting his archery range on a map he needed to win. That was pretty bad.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was big because he lost this
painful.
one actually,
Hmm.
and maybe Yo missed Spain because of that actually.
I think that
It
is
was-
actually reasonable.
Yeah, it was as sad as Sebastian Castle before NAC. I don't know if
Yeah, a
you
bit
get
less
this
sad,
one in
but
your
yeah.
mind. But Ornlu, do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
That's not really
Oh
comparable.
boy.
No, this was minor. I actually was watching the game and I had to rewatch because I didn't get like how Kemer was with like 8 scouts and archers or skills, I don't know, inside the Mayans goal. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, there was an unfinished palisade that he was trying to delete that was right next to the
Yeah.
archery range, and yeah, it was
Yeah,
tragic.
painful. Ah.
Well, so for the main event, do you think that Hera and Leary are the heavy favorites? Because I don't think we have like the exact tournament format yet, which is in itself kind of weird, but at the end of the day, I think it is like at least double elimination. So do you think that there's anyone who can challenge Hera and Leary for actually winning the thing?
I don't think you can answer even that one, considering that Viper and Tato are previous Red Bull champions.
Mhm.
So it can be any of them.
I think GL will underperform. I mean, if I have to
Hera
give a
is
take,
GL.
I think GL. Yeah. OGG. Okay, OGGL. So I think G. Okay, I think Viper
Okay.
and Tato will.
The real GL.
Yeah, it's not the real
Ah,
GL,
yeah,
it's the original GL. But yeah, you got me on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Viper and Tato will underperform somehow. What takes do I have? I think ECM will go top. I think MBL will top. Okay, I will rank them. It's easier. Okay,
Go
top
for it.
1 Leary, top 2 Hera, top 3 Heart. I think Heart will make a huge tournament. Top 4 Sebastian, top 5
Oh.
Viper, top 6 Tato, top 7
ACCM and NBL.
ACCM, top 8 MBL.
Oh
I
boy.
like that top.
hot take.
All right, Sebastian, you better do better. You better do better than Viper. Otherwise, Margougou's going to be disappointed in you.
I mean, Sebastian, will you lose to a gamer dad? I mean, I played against him like 3 hours ago on the Edge of Mythology Retold. I was playing one hand and he was just panicking everywhere. So I think the gamer dad will choke.
Why do you compare Age of Mythology with Age of Empires 2?
Why not? A game is a game.
You just wanted to brag that you did beat Viper, right?
Yeah.
All the top decisions for that.
With one hand.
Well, I mean, I think it is fair that Viper obviously has other priorities right now in terms of, you know, starting a family. So, I mean, he'll certainly be in shape for the event itself, but I think it's fair to say that he probably isn't going to be as sharp as he has been in previous tournaments.
Yeah, and I think they didn't went through the disqualifier thing. I think Tato and Viper are more about strategy than execution, even if their execution is like top notch. But I don't know why. I have a feeling that it won't be their tournament.
Mhm.
Just a feeling.
No, and I agree. I think just having that repetition of experience is just
Yeah,
so
it's a fair
important.
assumption.
Yeah, go ahead, Sebastian.
No, like both phases, especially the last chance qualifier, were key for preparation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably main
That's true.
event will be totally different, but like probably ladder thing was useless just for the mirrors. But at least you know like how to play mirrors. You are confident on mirrors, and the second phase was super important. So personally, I didn't have much on the second phase. I didn't have much practice on the last chance qualifier, only with you guys. So yeah, I feel like maybe a bit of a disadvantage towards like ACCM and Heart. So I would imagine like Tato and Viper would be like a bigger disadvantage if they didn't prepare much. Maybe they
Well-
sneak some games helping out, I don't know, something like that. But
Did you see the
yeah,
name of the new map?
There's a new map.
the
The
Deception, how is
Depression.
Depression, yeah.
Oh,
Fitting
Yeah.
perfectly for the qualifier.
the world's saddest map.
Is it named after Mystery and Vinge?
I don't know. Do you think you have like Vinch and Yo's face on the map somewhere?
Ah. That's
That's
even worse.
You have like
the starting
depression?
TC spawns is right on top of their faces saying, you know what, these
Exactly.
guys aren't here.
Yeah, that sucks.
Would be so fun.
Don't forget that GL is going to have a bootcamp, so they are going to
Oh,
practice for
yeah.
1 week. For
Yeah, I mean,
one
they're at
whole
least going to
week.
be in
Yeah, that's
semi-okay
true.
shape.
There will be doubts, so we are not sure if they are going to actually practice, but we're assuming so.
He will sabotage the
Yeah.
thing. I trust
Yeah.
in doubt.
Bootcamp should be like huge as well. That's
I
really
think it's
important.
gonna be weird for doubt. Sorry, Sebastian, because he will be there, I guess, as a guest. But doubt being there as a guest, not being a participant, I don't know. I think it's gonna be weird for doubt.
And don't you think it's going to be weird for us as well?
No,
Fox
I'm
players?
used. I'm
No, yeah, you're used to. I'm not
Don't you
used
see the relation?
used.
Well, Jordan's going to be there too, not as a player. So I imagine they're going to incorporate Doubt into the broadcast in some way because he's too entertaining to not use at all. So
Most likely.
yeah, I imagine I'll imagine that he'll be around and probably having a good time.
Yeah. It's gonna be cool, but you know, when you are a competitor, not being able to play, especially when you never done that before, like Doubt, for example, it can be weird, right?
I'm sure.
I
Yeah.
remember the first time he was the +1 in the first Red Bull. Like, I don't have doubt backstage on how good I am on AoE, especially back then. I was not that good. But it was weird for me, like watching everyone playing and you're just not playing. That's a bit weird, right? So yeah.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't really want to go there as a caster just to hang around and not be casting when everyone else is casting. Like I would find that weird.
Like,
True.
I want to partake and I'm in, but not that much, you know. It's like I'm a guest, but
Yeah.
not really. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, true. Now I remember that Daud has the experience of being in that situation from
Yeah.
NEC4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, didn't qualify.
Boom mentioned.
Yep. Always an interesting one. But how about the rest of you? Any spicy takes on who's going to over or underperform at Red Bull?
Sebastian is gonna win.
Sebastian is gonna win.
Yeah, I also
Not
think
biased
so.
at all.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Just as long as he
You-
avoids
you-
MBL
you can send me
and
the money
MBL
on
style on all the maps.
Do you think MBL will beat Era again?
I don't think MBL is going to beat Hera.
No.
I don't think it's going to
Not
be even
again.
close right now.
Do you think MBL will beat anyone on Ornlu?
What
Not
the hate?
on
It depends
the-
on who is facing.
Yeah, it depends a bit
see.
on who he's facing. I think obviously, you know,
Just
all of you guys
for
match up
Ornlu.
better against some players than others, but I think that if you have to play a wide map pool, I just think that's not quite as much to MBL's strengths. So I mean, it depends on like the draft and whatnot, but
So your answer is no.
I would not be surprised if, despite finishing pretty high on the ladder, he didn't finish higher than top
Okay.
7-8. Yeah.
That's a nice diplomacy answer.
You might have a good
That's nice.
matchup against Hart or ACCM. Against Sebastian, not really. And honestly, this time, not
Oh.
biased.
MBL did farm Sebastian on the ladder, but obviously that is a completely different setting.
Okay,
I
then
don't
it's
know, it was
biased.
like, yeah, it was like, I don't know. I don't remember the numbers, but probably like 75-25, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, total domination by him.
Yeah, but it's Byzantines and MBL. It's like
Oh.
just go.
It was either
Yeah, that's
Byzantines or
annoying.
Huns with MBL, and he's just like, doing MBL
MBL
things.
is so good in the ladder. He's really good. He's really good at it. I think if you can strategize a bit, you have decent chance of beating him.
Mm-hmm.
But you shouldn't face him, right? In the seeding part. I don't know.
Oh, no
What
idea.
was the seeding at the end
Uh,
of the day?
Well, that is something we don't know because it hasn't been announced. Unless you
Oh.
guys have been told and I haven't, it's not generally information available to the general public.
There's going to
Yeah.
be seeding. It's like no way we're going to have Viper in here at first round. It's
Yeah.
like just bad for their viewership.
I think you can reasonably do Tato 1, Viper 2, then the 4 ladder qualifier players, and then I have no
Yeah.
idea between ACCM and Hart. But like that
That
sounds
would be the best, because
yeah.
then you have Tato, Viper, Lyri, and Hera all top 4, so they are not facing first round,
Yeah, and then
which
you
is
can do
ideal.
for
I
the
think-
last chance qualifier, the one who had the highest rating on
Yeah.
on the ladder.
Yeah, I
That's
mean
it.
that sounds decent. The only problem is that they didn't say it previously, right? It's gonna be like, okay, we are doing it like this. You had no info, now you know. It's a bit weird, right? Maybe if players knew it before, like SCM could like grind the ladder a bit more just to be over hard, for example. And in case he's qualifying, he's like one seed above him, which can be huge.
But do you even care about seeding? Like you want to enter, you want to qualify. There is only like 8 spot. Well, not 8, 6. So like no one cares about seeding. You want to qualify, I guess.
I mean,
So-
I agree, but then you qualify first round, you are versus Era. I mean, I prefer to face MBL rather than Era if I can choose.
Mm.
Good luck choosing.
Yeah. It would be nice to know these things ahead of time, but I guess they just haven't finalized how exactly they want to go about it yet. But it's only going to be a few days, 3-4 days. So
4 days.
4 days, yeah.
Between
So-
They will be short.
3rd and 6th October.
So unless anyone has any more thoughts about Red Bull, I think we can go ahead and move on to World Desert Championship. But I mean, it's going to be hype. There's no question about it.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure, for sure.
Did you like our show match?
The first question.
I thought you guys would do a little bit better, but
Just a little bit.
Okay.
I expected you
little.
guys to at least take a map. Come on, give us content, man.
I knew the show match was over when I came into the voice chat and I heard, okay, guys, I have an idea. Let's go Phosphorus on every map. I think it's OP. I knew we lost.
Well, we didn't actually do it, so. And we still lost.
Yeah.
So no.
I mean, if Mihai would have made Vils on Lansua Marenses, maybe we could have taken him up.
I don't recall anything. I recall making views, but not having food, so it's a difference. I wanted to.
That was actually a really sick game, though. That was a lot of fun. So I guess the first question, and be very careful with how you answer this. What do you think of the overall setup for World Desert Championship 2? What do you think about having the big 3v3 tournament and playing on all these weird maps?
I'm happy to have it. I'm not sure if I like the maps so far. Maybe I'll get like them, but I haven't played enough, I guess.
Yeah, I think there is like too many of them
Right.
new maps. And for the team game tournament, it's very hard usually to practice all the maps, and it's much
That's a good
better to
point.
have like standard maps in team game tournament.
I personally love it. I think it's really cool to have a lot of new maps. It's always a hype to discover new strategies on everyone. So I personally love it. And yeah, that's it. I just
It's
think
it's
I like
original.
it a lot.
I think that I
Give
mean
us
I didn't make
Arabia.
any of the maps. I'm not offended by any of this. I do think that something we really want to avoid when having a team game tournament is to have a ton of scouts and archers into crossbowmen and knights every single game.
I wanted to nerf us. It's not cool.
You guys are a team. You're a bunch of good, intelligent players. You can think of some good strategies.
Yeah,
Roll
like
execution.
Phosphorus strategies, let's go.
That's the best strategy we could came up with. Phosphoru on each map.
My suggestion will be for such team game tournaments to have like unusual maps, but they are standard maps. Like maybe Golden Swamp, for example. Nobody plays that in team games, or
Yeah, but it's not
For
a
I don't know.
desert. Golden Swamp is not a desert.
That is true.
well, then
You can
Oh,
easily
Like
reskin any
Serengeti.
map to be a desert map. It's not that
Somebody's
hard.
paying attention.
All you need to do is replace lush green grass with sand and jungle trees with palm trees, and you're good to go. Just call it some random desert out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Desert
exactly.
swamp. Creative.
Nice.
Golden Desert.
You just have to find. You can call it Okavango. I think that's like a swampy desert area in Botswana. So there you go, easy peasy.
I think there is a map named like this. No, I remember seeing a map like this.
Well, I mean, the Lensois is basically like desert swamp, kind of.
I couldn't propose my map in the map contest because I don't know if you know, but I made a map back then. I think it was for what tournament? I think it was for random map. No,
Yeah.
I think you were hosting it with Nova. What was the name?
Yeah, RMS Cup 2.
RMS Cup 2. I made a map called the Kingdom of Demos, and you didn't pick it.
No, we didn't. But you know what? The fact that you even submitted a map was really cool. It's great to have people actually playing at a high level, but also understand that sort of design aspect of the maps, even if it's your first attempt at it.
My map was the best map on.
You see, there's something called competitive integrity that is important to me.
Yeah, I knew. I knew about that, but I still did it. So I was happy to. I mean, I struggled so much building it, but when I finished and it wasn't bugged, I was so happy.
How many demos did you start?
No,
with?
it's not even a map where you're gonna make a lot of demos. I was just like, okay, a map
What the
made
fuck
by
is that name?
Margougou, for many people, it's like not good because I am a player as well. So it's gonna be weird. So I need to give a name that will appeal people to vote for it, And I think actually it generated the opposite behavior. When you see the Kingdom demo, you're like, oh, what the fuck is this shit? Okay, I don't want it in my tournament.
Only Tato voted for it.
Yeah, I mean,
He
to be
was
fair, I barely even look at the map names because for that tournament we had to go through over 100 maps. I think we had like around 120 maps. So, I mean, it was like, okay, generate like 10 versions of this map. Don't look at the name. Just give it a score and move on.
Yeah. I mean, it was 4 map per creator. It was maybe too much.
Yeah. But
yeah, let's go to World Desert Championship.
Yeah, relevant to that is we actually had a map contest for World Desert Championship. We have 5 maps that won the prize pool, and we're going to be putting 4 of them in the main event. We're sure about 3 of them. I don't think we've necessarily agreed on the last one yet, but they are all going to be more standard maps. I don't know if you guys have seen them yet.
No.
Yeah, so you should at least have a bit more variety in terms of not having as crazy of maps. At least more options.
Nice.
Yeah, they don't seem that crazy.
Yeah.
I think most of the map, even special ones, when they are figured out, like it end into some kind of meta Scout Archer sometimes, or if it's a closed map, the same meta as a normal closed map. It's just player on its time to figure out the map, but when it's done, then you can have a meta on it, and it's not that different as a map.
Yeah, you just need to get to play a couple of games on each of them, and then it's easier to figure it out.
Yeah.
And the more games you guys play throughout the tournament, the more experience you'll get on them, the more time you'll have to see each other's games, see what works and what doesn't work. I mean, we're already seeing a few different strategies on the maps and just me going through and casting the round of 64 qualifiers, so I'm sure stuff will get ironed out over time.
Phosphoru.
Depends on the map.
By the way, I think that this tournament will be very messy because there is a draft, and you need to draft for 1v1 and for 3v3. That's the
cool.
main concern. Yeah, I think that's cool, and I like it. So we have plenty of space to strategize, but
I mean, it's just
I
one
think
draft,
it will
right?
be
It's
a
just
bit
you
messy.
pick the civ. You just pick a civ from your draft to use in the 1v1s.
Yeah, they have to give it priority, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it must, like, you need to win the best of 3 on 1v1s to get a point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's less value, maybe less priority, but I guess
I would say the
depending on how
biggest twist is that, for example, if you draft 3 specific saves for an enemy map, and then he picks it as a 1v1 map, then suddenly you can't use those 3 saves there.
Yeah.
And it's more about spontaneity and how flexible the civilizations are.
That's true, actually.
That's fair. We could look at that before the main event starts, but Yeah, the idea is, one, we want to test players on, okay, how do you work as a team and how do you perform individually? That one's kind of obvious, but I also think it's really cool to test the maps and see how maps differ when played on 1v1 versus team games. Because I imagine there's going to be, at least on a lot of the maps, some sort of differing play style.
That's for sure.
Separating the drafts can be an option, like having the three, let's say best of 5. Each team picks two maps, then you have one at the end, and from the remaining maps, then there will be a 1v1 draft, and you choose for that
I
one.
don't think that's needed. I think it's just too complicated. One big draft
Yeah,
is
it
enough.
can be complicated.
If you're organized, it's fair enough, and if you are not, well, it's your problem, right? I think it's good how it is.
It's a complicated format inherently, and so we can try and decomplicate it as best we can, especially in terms of conveying information to viewers, so they're not like, what the heck is going on? I have no idea how we're going to represent that graphically. That's not my job. But yeah, hopefully for the main event, it'll be at least pretty clear what people are going to be getting themselves into.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I guess as far as teams for the event, we were pretty lucky. We had basically all of the top players sign up, so I'm very happy about that. You guys, I think, are seed 4, I want to say?
Seed 5.
5, my bad. Yeah, so...
I think MII is above us, something like this.
Yeah, the Chinese team's above you, Yo, Vivi, Lix, My Insanity, Anatov, Sato, ACCM, Daniel, and then a couple Swiss players, and then Wii Sports and GL are seeds 1 and 2. So,
yeah,
how do you feel going up against all the competition there? Because, I mean, right now you're probably going to cruise your way through the qualifiers, but, I mean, there are a lot of good teams in this tournament.
Is it a group stage in the main event?
It is. Yeah, it's a group stage for the main event, so
okay.
it's not just going to be a single elimination.
I think we can do good if we prepare the maps, because obviously most of the maps needs a lot of preparation.
Mm-hmm.
But if we prepare and we come with good strategies, I think we have a good shot of making top 4.
Yeah.
Maybe you can even take a game from Wii
Doable.
Sports.
Well, they are seed 2, so we don't really need to beat them.
I think we can beat Wii Sport definitely, but I think Wii Sport is better than us if both teams come without preparation.
Yeah.
But if we come with preparation, we can definitely beat them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we need the preparation aspect to beat them for sure.
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
Otherwise, they have way more experience and all that. And well, it was seen, right?
Yeah. But I think that you guys have that opportunity now, and as you guys don't have, well, except for Sebastian, don't have RedBull to practice for now, this is going to be sort of the big event for the next month. And I think that you guys are actually quite well-rounded players in terms of the different maps you can play. So I think with some preparation, you guys should be able to do pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. As long as we don't go Phosphoru every game, I think we have a...
Last joke about Phosphoru, right?
As long as we schedule at least one practice,
or that one.
we will be doing better.
Yeah, who's the team captain not scheduling? What is this?
Who is technically the team captain?
I mean, for World Desert Championship, it's Mr. Mihai, and since he's the world captain, the team captain, no schedule, nothing. It's a mess.
Well,
let's not give too much out of the team, okay? keep it inside the house, okay?
Well, I'm sure you guys will be doing just fine for the event. So basically, the qualifiers are running right now. We finished a round of 64. You'll be playing the round of 32 pretty soon. Playing just for fun, which is...
It's more
Wade, Nezar, Lamarcus.
Taiwanese player.
Yeah. So it's more plus some Hong Kong
them.
guys. You guys should probably do that just fine there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, we have had some surprising results so far in that we've had teams that are like 20 seeds lower actually like look good against some of the like top 16 seeds. So it's been a little surprising, but also seeding for team games is really difficult at the best of times, especially once you get past like the top 6 or so teams. So it's actually been, I would say, surprisingly good so far in terms of the quality of games. So hopefully it'll be getting better.
How did Poland lose the first round?
Poland? Bar's team? No.
They didn't have Barls and they didn't have Jack, so it wasn't.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
Makes
it wasn't like the top Polish players.
Yeah.
Are Amigos playing?
No, not together. That was like the one team that didn't sign up. We had Ganji, Valas are playing with ROR.
Oh, with Rollers of Rome? Wow, what an old team. I remember playing against them in like 2021. They were there already.
They go back to Vubli. Yeah, it's an old team.
It's an old team.
Yeah. Yep, USA +1 beat Survivalist and some good French players.
USA OP. Finally, USA doing something in AoE. Wow.
Hey.
I mean, Daniel is there, T90 as well. Let's pay some respect to them, right? But Nations Cup USA, I don't expect too much from them.
Aw, don't worry.
Daniel, T90.
Daniel, T90, Ornlu.
I'm only like top 25 in America at best.
Oh, there is what's his name? Like, there's some good players actually. USA.
There's a lot of like 2K to 2K1, 2K2.
Yeah.
Listen to.
But I think the main problem with USA is that you have some top player with T90 and Daniel, but it's 1v1 player only.
Yeah.
I think they are very bad team game players.
I guess we just don't have as much of like a
1v1.
together like team game community like a lot of other countries do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, not Soxy, Scotty.
Yeah, Soxy is Australian.
Yeah,
never mind.
I know it's very easy to get Americans and Aussies mixed up.
True.
But I guess beyond that, other than I hope you guys are looking forward to the event. I think it will be fun at the very least. Hopefully the maps will end up being as competitive as we hope, but at least I've been having a lot of fun so far, and I hope you guys just enjoy playing in the event, right?
Yeah, I think it was already fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we had fun.
That's something that's important to me as an organizer, is that it's compelling for both to watch and to play, because that's fundamentally, especially team games, just having that sense of like camaraderie and just getting together with your friends and playing some AoE2 is sort of like it's how a lot of people got into the game, and I sort of wanted to have that translate in the actual games themselves with the top teams.
Also, you can have a look at some team chemistry with some stream as well and such. Like, that's really cool. I think that's a lot of hype for people to watch team games. I mean, it's hype as well for 1v1s, but team game is just totally different, as you said. Many people get into the game with friends, and then they can just like compare them with the top team and be like, oh, they're doing that, and that's really cool. And yeah, I think, that's a lot of hype.
Yeah, and now that we actually have open streaming, because Ornlu didn't check the
really?
rulebook closely enough, but yeah, you guys are all going to be able to stream your POV. You'll have Microsoft mandates a 2-minute delay if you're live streaming a tournament match, so you'll have to have that. But other than that, yeah, you guys, people will be able to watch the inner workings of Team Fox as they strategize to take down all opponents.
That's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Finally, I can stream after 3 months.
Back
streaming.
You can stream, so everyone will be able to tell you that you forgot to make vills on Lance from Arences.
No, they shouldn't see my point of view.
Well, I guess if you guys have any questions for the Fox guys in chat, I think otherwise I've gone through everything I wanted to get through. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Wait, someone said we need to bench me? What?
Yeah?
What is this?
You bullied Phosphoru strategy.
Nah, we all agreed to try it. It didn't work out as we expected. That's it.
I guess as we're waiting for some comments, do you think the Phosphoru strat is overpowered or doesn't have a place in AoE 2?
In 1v1 or team games?
In any context?
I think it can be good, if it's not expected, and in some really specific scenarios and matchups.
Yeah, it depends on the ship a lot, right? Because if you
Yeah.
have one of those ships that makes it OP, let's say, like maybe Portuguese, I think Portuguese is one of the best examples. It's really tricky. We have seen it like even winning on tournaments. I remember a game, Habu freaking Andy against Liri,
Oh,
Portuguese Burnese, for example. And
Yeah.
Burnese is not a bad ship to counter like those things.
Yep.
Has good tools. So
Maybe
yeah,
it's just
it's more
unique
on the
units.
ship. Yeah, it's more on the unique unit. It needs to cost wood and gold. So there is not so many options, I think. There's like maybe 3 ships which are like really OP. So it's probably not a worry on the tournament aspect. It's more a worry on the ranked aspect.
Yeah.
Mainly for players who are beginning, I guess. Or intermediate. That's super hard to counter, I think.
Dark, do you enjoy it?
Did I enjoy what?
The Phosphoru.
Playing, of
Yeah.
course.
Do you think
man.
it's good for Age of Empires to have the Phosphoru strat?
Well, tough to say. Is that good or bad? I think, yeah, like a lot of maybe lower elo players might struggle, but I think it's pretty fun. Like, at least you have something else rather than Scout Rush every game.
Like personally speaking, for the 1800 players of the world, it's good that we have this strategic variety, especially with civs that might not otherwise have a lot to do on an open map, like Koreans or Bohemians or Bengalis. On the other hand, that specific strategy is a lot more difficult to play against than it is to play, and I think that creates some really unfun dynamics where, especially with a tanky unique unit like Hussite wagons, war wagons, Rothas to a degree, there is a lot of room for error and micro. Whereas if you're
Yeah.
like just barely hanging on in feudal age, or if your castle age execution isn't quite perfect, then you can completely get wrecked.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
weird.
it's always the same with cheesy strat, right?
Yeah.
I remember the Tato Rush was the same. Like, it's really easy to execute for the one doing it. Even if on paper he will lose, it's that hard for the opponent to defend, and that's no bully. That's a lower player can just die to it many times, right? But that's not about Phosphoru. That's about any cheesy strat. Like Orange Rush is the same, Tato Rush is the same. Any type of holding or cheese is the same, right? So yeah, it can bring some frustration because it's becoming popular for many people. But I mean, it has always been part of the game. Like, as long as it's a cheesy strat, that's the same dynamic. It's snowball or not, and it's really hard to defend. But if you defend properly, you win 100% of the time.
Somebody pointed out in the chat, maybe it's just the market. Like Phosphoru doesn't work
Mm.
without the market, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you fix that? Because you cannot touch Bengalis. They are already bad, for example, right? Bohemians on
Yeah.
that map, you cannot do that. Maybe the main problem is like the market, for example, yeah.
I think that if you set the market food price to be the same as the stone price at start, so it's like what, 130 instead of 120, and it goes up from there. I think that can help against a lot of the. Your only source of food income is the market. But other than that, you can't really touch the unique units because they exist in so many other contexts than just
Exactly.
the rush.
Yeah, but then the market will just become useless at all. So
Oh, don't say useless. It's not gonna be useless.
That's a
It's gonna be
tough
a
word,
bit
yeah.
less OP.
well, like it would be useless for that purpose to buy
Yeah,
food.
obviously.
And I guess
Just make it situational.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
like at
Why
the
do you
situation
increase?
right now, you can use it every game.
If you increase the wood of the market, then all-in strats have it harder, for example.
Also, you
Maybe.
end Doubt's career in the same way.
We can't just end
Isn't
Doubt's
it
career
already?
like that.
Yeah. It would be a big hit to Doubt doing that.
No.
And as well, I also think that Mihai gameplay would be impacted a lot as well. Like, Mihai loves to go like Scout, Archer, invest a lot. And when you see he's not doing that much damage, he just spawn a market, sell everything, and goes up. And he has a good timing with good army.
True.
Well,
Or you're trying to.
I think for many people, nerfing the market will bring like better game and more fairness in the game. But that thing, it will lower the amount of action as well. Because if you nerf the market at a point where macro is the only rule making a player like really good in Feudal Age, for example, then you will just increase the strength of the defensive gameplay. Camping on his heel, perfect macro, perfect timing, perfect resources. That's how you play. That's how Leary play. And that's why Leary is always like, nerf the market. Obviously, Leary, because you're camping your heel, perfect farm, perfect lumber camp, perfect timing, no abuse market. And if you ask Mihai don't want to nerf the market. Because he won't
No,
be
I
able
want
to
to
go
nerf the
aggressive,
market.
then
What are you
catch up on
talking about?
timing, right?
What are you talking about? Fake news.
Mihai, why do you
said
want to
that
nerf the market?
I think
Or why do you not want to nerf
you
the
made
market?
the point
So I
right.
can get to play different. I can force myself to play different.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's tricky.
I think it's really interesting that we can have this discussion and there is no like obvious correct answer. And I think there's a lot of reasonable debate, you know, with positives and negatives. Whereas I think if you just look online and like you see Twitch chat and you see Reddit and Discords, it's like completely everywhere and it's like the most impossible thing to play against. But I think it's just about people kind of figuring it out. And I say, like, again, in personal experience, I don't have the time to ladder a ton, but in my last like 20 games, I've faced it once. So it's not, I think, as ubiquitous, at least in mid elo as some people might think.
I think that's a high elo thing, yeah.
Yeah. But to ask some questions from chat, are any of you going to be going to Red Bull, other than Sebastian?
In theory, all of us,
Yeah.
which will be really cool,
That'll be really cool. Definitely got to make some content there.
for sure.
Content.
That's
Will
what
you,
we
will
are.
you be there,
Content.
Ornlu? I never saw you, Ornlu, in real life, actually.
Wait, sorry?
I never saw you in real life.
Nope.
Will you be there?
No, I'm not. I can't afford to go all the way to Spain.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a long
it's a
trip.
long way.
An expensive one, yeah.
Yeah, no. I love going to events just to getting to hang out with the AoE community and getting to meet you guys and hanging out. And I guess I can cast and like do a job, I suppose, but no, the social aspect always been really big to me. But hopefully I'll be able to go to more LAN events in the future.
That would be
We
cool.
hope so. It will be the first one for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not for Margougou. He has experience.
I've been going to Heidelberg and NAC only. That's the... I didn't went to the Grand Melee thing, but I don't regret not going. It was super cold. I heard it was super cold.
Yeah, the event was pretty dead. Like, DreamHack Hanover as a general event was like, there weren't many people there.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't regret not going there.
And I guess I completely forgot to mention it earlier, but Nations Cup, the Sax Nations Cup that Mem is going to be hosting.
Romania for the win.
Oh.
Let's go.
So,
I bet
Watch
on
out for
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
How is Russia looking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Russia is looking good, actually.
Do you
Yeah.
think Russia is better than France?
What's your team?
Well, we have Vinch, me, Repart. We also have good upcoming players, Wide and Antagonist. They are in Zalt's team.
True.
Mm-hmm.
True.
They're looking solid as well. So,
Decent.
Margougou, you better practice, man.
Yeah.
Do you think your team is better than ours?
Well, who do you have?
Who is third and
We have
fourth player for you?
Cito, Siskan, me, Babarum, Clement, and Cisalet,
You.
I guess.
One of those players doesn't seem to fit with the others for some reason.
Oh, it's a good team. It's a really good team.
Yeah, no, both Russia and
Yeah.
France should be good, but I mean, coming from smaller countries in the AOE scene, Romania and Uruguay, like, is it something that you can actually get excited for?
What
Wait,
are you talking
Romania is
about?
actually
Romania is
good.
good.
It's actually really good, Romania.
Well, we have only 2 key players.
You have Andre, Mihai, Saps,
Raven.
and someone at the end for the fourth player.
Yes,
Raven's
Raven.
decent.
Yeah,
K3.
Raven, like you have
Yeah.
K2 to K3.
Actually, that's a pretty decent team.
And Uruguay.
And there is 1v1, 2v2, 3v3. which I would say it
Yeah.
favors us.
We have Uruguay has basically me, Uruguay, which is like 2K1. Feduru, 19 maybe, but good on team game. And the fourth would be tricky too. Maybe
Uru-
Alec, I don't know.
Uruguay be like,
We
okay,
don't
let's
have
send
the 4 players.
1v1.
We have like 5 maybe, but it's tricky to know who is the fourth.
Sebastian Fazer is the fourth player.
Yeah, he's sneaking it.
What do you give me if I get Uruguayan citizen?
Citizenship.
Yeah, we can negotiate.
When you are in Spain, Sebastian comes to France, meet a French lady, they marry each other. Sebastian as fourth player, France top one.
Oh,
I mean,
don't
if
do that
Sebastian,
to the sin.
Franciscan and I.
So
Solid.
China and Canada were at the top of the last Nations Cup. Do you think that's likely going to be the case again?
I think
Yeah.
having a 1v1, 2v2 mixed settings is not favoring Canada.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Because, I mean, well, they have the 1v1, they will have Hera, that's cool. But then I think 3v3, 4v4, I don't know.
Mm.
I think they are stronger in 4v4 only.
Which are the other two? Brazil and
Finland.
Finland, yeah.
I have no clue why they invited Brazil and Finland. I mean, they are good. They were top 3 and top 4, but they are not that good that they are guaranteed to qualify through the qualifiers.
Yeah.
I think only 2 team invited could have been better, especially that there is only 8 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I mean, especially Brazil with this 1v1, 2v2 rules. Oof, Brazil? Grandpa Dogao, Grandpa Miguel, Grandpa Fire, Grandpa Goku. Oof.
Hey, man,
Beast.
don't disrespect the team that won Nations Cup. What was it, 2016, 2017?
Yeah.
No, they are really good, but I think the format is not favoring them at all. I think Dogao, I think Brazil team is more than happy to be invited. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think they are really, really happy to be invited. Potentially the same for Finland.
What about Finland? Retired
Well,
Velez, retired
GSA
Max,
is not
retired
playing
Ruben
too
stuff.
much,
No.
but still really good in team games. Valas is good, but not playing that much recently as well. And the fourth player, Ruben Stock, I didn't see him playing recently, or only team games.
They do play team games, I see on the spec dashboard, but it's just like, it feels like casual ranked team games that, it's not like hardcore practice.
I think they are, I mean, both Brazil and Finland are definitely happy to be invited, that's for sure. Because the qualifier is really complicated. Really complicated.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to cast for sure. But it's still something to look forward to. So we have 2 team game events that will be coming up in the near future, as well as the big one we want to went with Red Bull. So I think there's actually just a lot to look forward to for AoE in general. But I think that's about it. We've actually gone over an hour and 7 minutes. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. We had a lot to talk about today, to be fair.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you, everyone.
Toki.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you, guys.
Hey guys, thank you.
All right, see you guys. Thanks for the chat.
Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.